want to start off, man. Assalamu alaikum, man. Rahmatullah barakatuh. Man,
Walaikum salam.
it's so good to hear from you, man. Right now, we talking to Antone White, man, one of our DC champions, man, and one of our legendary DC champions that been holding us down for a long period of time, man. It's so good to hear from you, man. I got nothing but admiration and respect from you, man. And I'm glad you gave us a chance to get a chance to talk to you, because we've been hearing a lot of things through a lot of different people. So for you just to get your voice and your real feedback on what's going on some of the issues that's taking place, man, not only with your case in particular, but also, with some of the homies and what's going on from a DC aspect. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
how you been, man?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm just fighting this struggle, man. I'm pushing forth. I really can't complain.
Okay, how long you been in, Tone?
Man, going on 26 years now.
Damn, man. That's rough, man. Our thing is like we got a lot of homies right now that's returning back to the community, man. So I mean, what seemed to be the hold up? Because I mean, we know we starting to become aware, in DC in our community, man. It's urban wise. Even though we want to get this message out to the masses, but urban wise, we starting to be aware of some of the mass incarceration and a lot of things like the Title 13 and stuff like that. They showed it on Netflix. So just from your aspect, like a lot of your co-defendants came home. Can you explain just a little bit about your situation on why what's the hold up with your appeal?
Yeah, more so it's based upon the federal guidelines. The federal guidelines based upon is unconstitutional. It really violates your Fifth, your Sixth, and the Eighth Amendment. But really the nutshell of the battle, we have a problem more so with this anti-terrorist law, which is abbreviated AEDPA. So that's what's hamstringing a lot of people in my predicament on collateral attack. Because it's like my case really is like a cold case. Like all these laws coming about and, really benefits me, but they saying that I don't have an opportunity to really present my case. See, because appeal courts, they had this anti-terrorist, they opposed a statute of limitation to petitioners. So the thing is, if you didn't file within 1 year after your appeal was denied, which mine was denied in 97, so if I didn't file in 98, everything else, my case is a dead case.
So basically, you telling me that it's a timeline on justice. I mean, you saying that because you didn't file between 98 and 99, the case go dead. So like open and shut.
Yeah, see, that's how it is. It's it's a limitation. Like you said, it should never be no deadline on justice because you got I haven't been found guilty of nothing violent. I've been found guilty more so on drug distribution. And what it is they got a thing with the federal guidelines that is really violating your Fifth Amendment rights.
Right.
Because on the Fifth Amendment rights, it's doing that. You should never be pursued. It's like in the Fifth Amendment rights, your presumption of innocence should never preclude for you to be penalized for an uncharged or acquitted charge.
Yeah.
So it's even with a dismissed charge, so what they do is they have a situation with the probation officer. They infer more so a level of with their investigation, they'll come up with some relevant conduct and their amendments or dispense what they feel that you was responsible for, despite that it's not even on your indictment, nor that you was found guilty of.
But you get time
so this
for
with
it.
a lot of say that again.
But you got time for it, and it wasn't on your indictment, and you wasn't charged with it.
Nah, see, you got to for my case, I was charged with a 26 account with four defendants.
Right.
But I was charged with murder, but I also was charged with a CCE conspiracy, a CCE murder, a RICO Act, and also a basic conspiracy, and some few drug distribution. But I was only found guilty of the RICO Act and the conspiracy and 3 predicate acts of drug sales. That's only total 58 grams. But with the murder, I was hung, so they dismissed the case. So in the CCE, I dismissed the case. But this more so that's complicated everything. During my sentence, after the pre-sentence report did their investigation, I mean, doing their so-called investigations, they come back and give me a base amount of drugs of 21 kilos that I was never charged with, nor was I was foreseeable in court.
So let me
it's
ask
never
you
been
this.
on my indictment.
So let me ask you this, Tone. So who do they expect to? I mean,
this
so
call is from a federal prison.
who do
Say that
they?
again. The computer came on.
Who has to file? I mean, like let's go back to that year a little bit. Back up and go back to the year, right? So within that year, how does that process? How do you file? Like, because I mean, like
you have to,
a lot
you
about
have to file more so. You have to file more so pro se. After you get found guilty,
with no lawyer.
No lawyer. They nullify your lawyer. See, once
Wow.
you get found, once your appeals run its course, and say your appeal been denied, I mean your conviction been affirmed. Now you have to file within 1 year of pro se, and you know actually the average individual that's incarcerated, uneducated, barely have a GED.
Okay, so for the listeners, what do you know the abbreviation to that Predator Act that you was telling us about, the one that they place you under?
Right now it's the anti-terrorist law. So what it do, it hamstrings, it's a restriction that you have 1 year to file a habeas corpus after your direct appeal. It's called an AEDPA. So it really stands for an Anti-Terrorist Effective Death Penalty Act. It was mainly for death penalty cases, but what it did is align every prisoner more so to the anti-terrorist bill. So even back then, when President Clinton signed into effect, he proclaimed that he didn't meant to have an effect on ordinary citizens. See, that's the cases that's what's hamstringing the majority of everybody in a federal prison as far as getting back in court.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so now with the year that they placed, that time frame, that window, right? They changed the law, right? When they changed that law, you mean to tell me they only changed the law for a year? I mean, it was only in effect for a year. Did they make it retroactive? I mean, how did that work? They changed the law.
It was never more so put as far as it's retroactive. It came automatic law. So, but it's like I say, for instance, the Supreme Court rule upon a case right now.
Yeah.
Now you have to file an application to the appeals courts and ask could you file this motion. Now, 9 times out of 10, the appeals court really denies it because they're saying that you time bar or it wasn't retroactive. But this is the actually hurdle in a fight that the average federal prisoners going through.
So to me, I'm gonna tell you what this sound like. This sound like, man, they try to make you remain a slave. This reminds me of slavery all over again, because you change a law, right? And then when you change it, you say, okay, but you got a year to file. You can't. They know the lawyer. So now you talking about stuff, man. That law, that stuff being pig Latin. Sometimes I can't even read that stuff, man. If you don't have no type of sense of knowledge to read that, and we got young brothers that's coming off the street getting 62 years. The same way that they railroaded y'all back in that era. So these young guys have to go through the same thing that you dealing with right now?
Yeah, they have to go straight through the process. But see, the good thing, they have a straight direct appeal because they're going to be sitting up there and, they're going to sit up there. The government going to give them a lawyer. But beyond their appeal get shot down, it's all on them. They're going to have to really learn the law and litigate. And
how can you do that in a year?
Yeah. But that's the hurdle. It's like you got lawyers who go to school and can't even pass the bar exam. So how can you think a person who's uneducated, barely have a junior high school, and don't even have a GED?
Yeah.
So that's where it's more so going at. It's like nobody professional review the case but us. So when we file, more so it's being shot down because they say that, we procedurally barred. And that's like I say, how can justice have...
Work. Yeah, you know I got that work. I'm why baby mamas leave. I'm why baby fathers curse.
Maybach music.
Made it big with go-go, and I made it with that dope flow. This one right here for DC, this one right here for Polo. See my PA Palace flow, Hugo Boss New Balance flow.
This is something, man. This is to me, this is beyond cruel and unusual punishment, man. Because I'm saying, like, we know about, the development of, of a man, right, and his brain and things like that. We understand that part, but the part that's getting me is that you go back and correct the mistake, and then you put a time limit. Like that's like saying that, okay, yeah, I was wrong for X, Y, and Z, but you got to then for me to give it back to you. You know what I mean? If you don't come back,
I understand.
if you don't come and get your money back within, whatever time frame I give you, right? If you don't come back and get your money back in whatever time frame I give you, then the money is mine. Then you lose your money. But in this case, we talking about a life though. A father. You know what I mean? A leader, community leader, and been leading from the inside, from what I hear. You know what I mean? In terms of when the homies come out there, I've been hearing that, you have been the one to be the diplomat and be able to navigate different situations and keep us safe. You know what I mean? Can you speak a little bit of that?
Well, more so, like being more so, like we don't have, like being from DC, being in the feds, we actually don't have more so no home base. The average time that we in the feds, we sentenced to, well, we more so being aboard a prison, more so that we like 500 miles away from DC, on an average basis. The only closest being close to home is Canaan, Hazleton, Islandwood, which is probably 2 or 3 hours away in Petersburg, but a lot of FCIs is close to home. But you got to understand, it's like everybody is against DC. If for some reason, I don't know actually the mind frame or the psych effect, but at the same token, we come here and we have no structure because we come through a banner of the quadrants so divided in our city. You got a lot of people who speak uptown. You got a lot of people who will say southeast, northeast, southwest. But in all actuality, when you come into the feds, DC become one. You don't even hear people saying, I'm from northwest, I'm from northeast, I'm from southeast, I'm from southwest.